Hey, before we jump in, we've got a question for you. Are you ready to put an end to self-sabotage so you can finally feel good enough? Listen, we know what it means to not feel confident, relaxed, and worthy. It means you're probably the one with the foot on the brakes in your own life or business. And if you want to live up to your fullest potential, which we know you do, and if you want to make this your happiest and best year, then you need to update your mindset. It doesn't have to be hard, but you do need to take the leap of faith to get it started. So what I want you to do is sign up for our free masterclass, How to End Perfectionism and Elevate Your Life. Whether you're feeling completely overwhelmed or you're tired of beating yourself up, we'll show you the step-by-step strategies that will turn you into a confident badass. Reserve your spot right now before you forget by going to theelevatedlifeclub.com/masterclass. That's theelevatedlifeclub.com/masterclass. Don't let another moment go by that you don't feel confident in your own skin so that it's easier to create a life you're in love with. All right, let's dive in. Manifesting is such a buzzword right now. Law of attraction, The Secret documentary, Abraham Hicks, all the things that teach us that our thoughts create our reality. This is such a powerful and simple concept, but the problem is we mostly have it wrong. A lot of us are programmed with fear and doubt and worry, and that usually manifests what we don't want. You know, the truth is we're always manifesting. And so whether we see things with a glass half full or half empty, your mindset is what determines your experience. So in this oldie but a goodie, we share the common mistakes that you make when manifesting and how to avoid them and make it effortless. We thought this wisdom was too good not to share on the podcast, so you might hear some old stories, but the wisdom always rings true. Hey, we're Britt and Chris Carmichael, and you're listening to the Elevated Life Podcast. Throughout the 13 years we've been together, we've never ceased in our endless quest to better ourselves.
We've studied top experts, philosophers, and gurus. After years of personal self-experimentation, we found the tools for shifting your beliefs, moving through fears, and developing a positive mindset.
If you're ready for a breakthrough, then you're in the right place because we're here to empower you to take control of your life with simple mindset shifts that create radical transformation.
We'll be diving into topics like personal growth, health, philosophy, spirituality, relationships, success, and mindfulness.
So create some space for yourself and get comfy. It's time to become the badass you were born to be. We're going to be talking about manifesting abundance. So a lot of conversation has been around finances. It's been around time. It's been around what brings us joy. Because when you talk about manifesting, so many people immediately think money, especially manifesting abundance, right? But abundance means to have a plethora of something. And the thing that I'm looking for in my life isn't more money, but more joy. So I'm curious, what are you looking for in your life?
I love this because whether you like it or not, you're a manifester and you're doing it nonstop. It's happening right now. It'll be happening later today. It was happening yesterday. We're always manifesting. We cannot help it. And it's so important to be able to understand how the process works and how to make sure we're using it correctly. Because if you look at your life, everything that's in it, you've somehow manifested. If you say, oh my gosh, I have this job and I hate it. It's the worst. They made me do all this stuff. It's terrible. And you think back, there was a time in your life where you go, I really need this job. When you signed up, you got in there, everything was going on. And so often we fail to realize that everything eventually has its time and its place in our life. And we need to re-manifest. We need to come back up with a new solution. One of the big problems that people have with manifesting is the fact that they don't realize that when they want something new or when they desire something or to be in a new state or to whatever the case may be, you're going to have to change something. So you can't just say, hey, I want this, and then that's it. That's such a small part of the process, that knowing of what you want, even if you're specific, you know exactly what it is. You say, I want this specific thing in this way. I want it to come to me like that. If you don't change anything about yourself, you're only going to get what you currently have because what you're doing now is a result of what you thought. So if you want something new, make sure you're thinking in a new way.
And if you're thinking in a new way, you'll start taking action in a new way. And action really is the ingredient behind that moving the energy and manifesting, right? Because when you move, you create this energetic frequency that's in motion, right? It's like the hardest thing. You think about like a big boulder. You have this like big obstacle in your way and you're like, oh, it's going to take so much effort to get that boulder rolling. You have to put so much energy into the beginning. But once you get it going, once that boulder starts to roll, the momentum like picks up and it becomes effortless. But it's just getting started and taking the action. Because here's what happens. We come up with a desire, like Chris says. We say, okay, this is what I want. I want to manifest losing 10 pounds. If we're thinking the same thoughts, we're going to keep doing the same actions, buying the shitty foods in the grocery store, overeating when we know we're full. And if we don't start thinking new thoughts, then we're not going to take the new action. And if we don't take the new action, we're never going to get the desired result that we want. And one of the things that we've been talking about is that so many people think that when they want to manifest something, they're like, oh, I want to manifest a new house, or I want to manifest a perfect lover, or X amount of dollars, or this new car. But what we have found is that it's the feeling behind the physical item that you're trying to manifest that is ultimately what matters most. Your energy in trying to manifest the physical objects, when you could shift your emotions and begin to choose those feelings.
Yeah, this is so great. And Britt nailed it on the head. I mean, this is the big thing. The biggest mistake that we are typically making when we manifest is that we are focused on manifesting the wrong things. We think that if I have this object, or if I have this thing in my life, or if I'm in that relationship, or I start this business, then I'll be happy. And it doesn't work that way. You know, you can think about, well, if I become famous, then I'll be happy. But we know famous people. We read about them all the time that are depressed. They've gotten that thing that you want, and that wasn't it. And so it's not that you shouldn't have dreams. It's not that you shouldn't go after them. I think you should live a rich, abundant life, and it should be amazing. But that is not the core thing we really want to be manifesting. We want to be manifesting the feelings. It's the feelings that really matter. So let's say you get that brand new car. You work hard for it. You do all the things, and you get it. And then after a month, the pizzazz is gone. How do you feel? Almost defeated, right? Like, I've worked so hard. And that's for a lot of the people who end up going through school and going to college, and then they go and get a specific job, and they get married, and they move to Florida. And they come out in the end and going like, this is not even the dream that I had. It's like, it's deflating as we continuously climb these ladders that people put in front of us. And then we forget, like, you don't have to climb the ladder. Sometimes it's so much more simple. We can never derive the things that we want from anything that's external from us. So if it's happiness that you're after, you've got to work on the internal stuff. The beautiful part about what ends up happening is when you shift your focus from the material, physical object onto the feelings that you want to have, a lot of times the stuff that you want automatically shows up. And so you say, I want to feel more joy in my life. I want to have more happiness. I want to be more content. I want to be more satisfied. I want to feel more secure. Then those things start showing up. And they start showing up in ways you couldn't have imagined because you were going after the wrong stuff in the beginning.
You know, it's so beautiful to see that what we're starting to all wake up to the fact that, I say this all the time, joy is the new currency. And we get the car, we get the thing, we get the fame, we get the money, we get the physical whatever on the other side of that goal. And it lasts for so short. And so like Chris talked about, if you want to start cultivating happiness, you have to go within. And that requires courage. You know, it's easier to risk failure in the outside world, but to have courage to look at your darkness and the things that maybe are limiting you from choosing joy or allowing yourself to find happiness in the present moment. I've found that, you know, not much has changed in my physical reality, but everything about my perspective has shifted. And the way that I see things now allows me to be content and peaceful with everything that is present, from the shitty moments like my grandmother about to pass away to the joyful moments. I'm about to launch an oracle deck, talk about death and rebirth. I mean, all happening all at once, you know? And so it's not to say that we choose happiness and we're dismissing the darkness. No, we choose happiness in spite of it, because that's where we have our power.
Boom.
Somebody clip that.
Dude, that's beautiful. And it's so true, though.
I pray for my grandmother.
It's so true. We start to focus on such the wrong things, and we end up getting those things eventually because, again, we are manifestors, or we get the opposite of them because we're manifesting that. And if you don't know how to figure out the manifestation process like that, you got to definitely get that part down first. But once you start realizing that there are steps, there are rules, that all this stuff follows a specific logical sequence, and then you begin to manifest it. It's really so important that you start picking the things that are really important. You have to come back to the core feelings, because all of the other things will not matter in the end. Anything physical for the most part perishes away. I mean, our physical body, just like what Britt's talking about. I mean, we're all slowly walking into that perishing step, and that's totally okay. We're constantly changing. This is just a journey that we're all on, but it's so important to focus on the things that actually matter, and to not get carried away, or to not spend all of your time all on the little bitty small wins that are totally insignificant, that don't move the needle forward, that don't really do anything in your life. I realize when I talk to people who are anxious and afraid and stressed out, that a lot of times the things they're stressed out about really aren't that important to them. They're worried about what so-and-so may think, or what this person might do if they do that. And like, none of that really matters. Like, the matters is like, how are you feeling right now? How are the people around you feeling right now? What good are you putting out into the world? And like, when you start focusing on those things, and we start making them the main part of your day, about how you structure your life, about what your to-do list looks like, about what the things you're constantly doing, everything starts to open up. All the opportunities come in, all things flood in, because you're not chasing the wrong things. Make sure that your focus is the number one key that you carry on in your life every day. That focus is the one thing that matters. If you're stressed, look at what you're focused on. If things are happening to you that you don't like, where are your thoughts at right now? What are you thinking about on a regular basis? Because you're manifesting those things, because your subconscious only delivers to what you're feeling. You chase the feelings, and everything else comes back.
Oh, so beautiful. Chris was saying earlier how, people are manifesting all the time. So if you're in an experience right now where you're like, I don't like any of this, like, all this is rubbish, I don't like it. Like, one, pat yourself on the back for creating it, because you created it with the thoughts and the feelings that you're thinking. I was talking to a client yesterday in the salon, and she's very analytical, very number, science, like facts, like driven. And I was telling her, she has a very empathic son. And I said, you have to communicate on a different language, because you talk with your head and empaths talk with their heart and their feelings. And she's like, I don't know that language. I said, well, that's why you have this empath child, to bring you back to your feelings, because it's not about how much we can think our way through a situation. Because when you're faced with a situation like I'm in right now, with my grandmother about to pass, like, all I can do is allow the feelings to come up and just trust the process. It's really an interesting time right now in our life, because I'm like manifesting these massive goals and dreams that I've had for so long, like my Oracle deck and going on tour and the retreat. And it's so many amazing things. But like I told my client yesterday, none of this fucking matters if she passes. Like, if I'm wasting all my time trying to build these dreams when I could be spending the last moments with her, that's what really matters most. And I think it's not until tragedy or trauma strikes that you finally realize the true meaning behind life and its connection with people. It's not how much money we have in our bank account or how many Instagram followers we have, but how close are our connections. Yesterday, I realized I got this tattoo so many years ago. It says, "Love is watching someone die." And this is the first time I'm having to do that. It's kind of interesting that I got that tattoo so long ago.
It's such a powerful time, and we are in the U.S. at least going into a lull period where it's going to be darker, it's going to be colder, and the important thing during this time is to make sure your thoughts stay positive. Yeah. I mean, if you want to help people in any situation, keep your thoughts positive. Yeah. I don't mean like, ramp it up and be obnoxious.
Don't be a cheesy jerk.
Yeah, nobody likes that, right? Like people go through hard times, and it's so important that you keep your mindset focused on what will help them is the fact that you're positive. Not that you're overwhelming, but that you're there. You can sit, you can be calm, you can let them go through what they're going through. If that means pain, if that means, especially if you're a coach or a parent or something, sometimes the person that you're with really needs your help, but they don't need you to tell them what to do. They just need you to
listen.
To feel understood. Mm-hmm. And so the whole point of what we're talking about here is to keep the focus on the important stuff, to recognize in your life what's important and work on manifesting those things, those experiences, because those are the things that really matter. At the end of your life, those are the things you're going to remember. You won't remember what car you had. You won't remember necessarily the place that you live. Maybe, and again, dream big. I all those dreams and do all those amazing things, but not at the expense of losing sight at the things that truly you care about on that deeper level. This is a much deeper level conversation, because we get on here and tell you how to grow your bank account, how to save money, how to invest in Roth IRAs and do all this kind of stuff. but none of that will be important.
And we'll do that on next Tuesday inside the membership club. We'll tell you all the scientific based facts on how to manifest, what you're doing wrong, and how to reprogram your mind to start, believing in yourself. Most importantly, I think that's the biggest thing. So if you're someone who's like, I'm a manifester, but I am manifesting what I don't want, and I want to take it to the next level. Like I've proven to myself, I keep seeing these little synchronicities. I have this thought of this idea, and then bam, it happens. But you're like ready to take that to the next level. Then join us inside the Elevated Life Membership Club so we can hold you accountable for going after these dreams while also maintaining focus on what truly matters. If you want to join us, you can go to brittneycarmichael.com/membership to sign up.
Yeah, and if you're wondering if this is something that's really for you, just take a pause and look at your own life. How are your relationships? How's your business doing? How are your thoughts going? Have you been programmed since you were a child? If you've got like poverty and scarcity mindset, if you've never been around wealthy people.
I grew up in a trailer, just so I could touch the ceiling. It was so short. Like I didn't come from, I did not come from any kind of money or wealth or even the mindset. We shopped in the clearance section and ate Totino's pizzas and Little Debbie's, and not to bash and where I came from. I'm so thankful and so blessed that we were able to have that life. But just to prove a point, like it doesn't matter where you came from or the mindset and beliefs that you were bestowed upon by your family and your surroundings,
sweet family,
your community, you can shift and change those thoughts. And that's exactly what the Elevated Life Membership Club is all about, is elevating your mindset, because it starts in the mindset so that you take the action and then you experience the change.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. So if you need to overcome those things, if you have like a disbelief with yourself, if you don't feel like you deserve life's riches, if you don't feel like you have an abundant or beautiful life, come join us. You deserve it. I mean, you really deserve to live a life that's fantastic and one that you can create in your mind and then see out in your future. And we're going to show you, like Britt said, how to do that while still maintaining your focus on the important stuff. Because we want it to be beautiful, and we want it to just knock your socks off, where you wake up one day and you say, holy smokes, look at all this beautiful thing that I've surrounded myself with. I love it. And to not lose touch with the things that truly matter inside your heart. So we're going to focus on both of those. If you want to join us, come meet with us Tuesday. It's going to be an amazing experience. We're going to help you get rid of all those old mindsets. We're going to show you how to shift those beliefs. We're going to work on that subconscious to really build you up so you feel like everything that you've ever thought of in your life, you're capable of doing.
I cannot wait to see you inside the Elevated Life Membership Club next week. We are going to have so much fun. We are bringing the joy, we are bringing the party and the power so that we can really amp up our energy, so that 2020 really is, the twos are about balance, right? And choice. So 2020, it's like amplified by the zero. So this is going to be a powerful year of making that choice and balancing, letting go of the old while integrating into the new, because it doesn't happen overnight. You need that support and accountability. We appreciate all of your love and support here on the Elevated Life series. Peace.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Elevated Life podcast. Want more? Join us at theelevatedlifeclub.com for mindset upgrades, lifestyle hacks, and spiritual tools to elevate your soul.
Each month features a new masterclass, meditation, yoga practice, and more to help you transform your life one step at a time.
Come join the 7 or Above Club.